I have a dream. I dream of a study that's going to unite this country and people around the world about how to intervene with COVID-19, its variants, and any other epidemic that we're going to experience in the future. I'm dreaming of this study exploring 5 populations of people, how their autoimmune system fights with COVID-19, the efficacy of that autoimmune system. Because remember, at the end of the day, whether you're vaccinated or not, what you're fighting COVID-19 with is your autoimmune system. There is nothing. The vaccine isn't fighting the virus. It's just introducing the virus or the proteins of the virus to your immune system ahead of time so that your autoimmune system can get prepared for it. I want to look at the problem in an unbiased, unpolitical way so that we actually get straight answers. Science is a great language, a great methodology to look into things, realities of life in an unbiased way. So that's why I'm choosing to dream about a study. And in this study, we have 5 populations. Is people who've never been exposed to the disease and got vaccinated. How their autoimmune system fights against the disease after they get vaccinated. So we're going to look at the number of infections from this population after they got vaccinated and how many of them show severe symptoms. Because you can get infected by COVID-19, but very few people, 1 in 5 or so, shows severe symptoms, and less than that show symptoms severe enough to get hospitalized, stay in the hospital, and then again a fraction of that population dies. So we want to know how the severity of those symptoms are. It's very important. You cannot just say this many people got infected and leave it there. That's like saying so many people are alive on Earth today. It doesn't give a lot of information to us. The second population is the people who have been exposed to the disease. They got infected, they got better with their own autoimmune systems, and then got vaccinated, and how they're coping with the virus after that. Then the third group are the people who are healthy, who have no chronic diseases or comorbidities, as doctors are calling them right now, who have happiness in their lives. According to studies, chronic diseases and addictions and unhappiness, basically depression, anxiety, problems like that, mental illnesses, are problems that weaken our autoimmune system's ability to fight diseases. The number of chronic diseases you have matter in how much your autoimmune system is impacted negatively by those chronic diseases. If you have asthma, that is going to interfere with your autoimmune system. But if you have asthma, diabetes, obesity, depression, that's going to impact your autoimmune system much more. So we need to look how many chronic diseases people have, ask if they're happy or not, and if they say happy, that's our 4th group. And then we're going to look at people who are unhappy and have chronic diseases. So these are actually very important differentiators between populations that we're investigating. I'm looking at studies that compare the effectiveness of our natural immune system versus the vaccination. Researchers are really not looking at how many chronic diseases these people have. If you don't look at these factors, you're comparing apples with oranges. I know that mainstream population doesn't realize how much of a factor happiness and mental illnesses and number of chronic diseases you have impact your autoimmune function. But we who are in the medical field should know better, okay? So researchers out there, I'm waiting and I'm fantasizing about you researching these things. Please go out there and study this. And if there's anybody who wants to fund a study like this, I'd be happy to lead one. I don't have the money funding, unfortunately. Oh, and another factor I want to look at in my fantasy study is the side effects. Folks, what are the side effects of the vaccines on people in these different groups? You can have healthy body and your mental functioning might be really high. You might avoid having any side effects from these vaccines. But if you're suffering from many chronic diseases already, and a lot of countries are giving the vaccines because you're suffering from chronic diseases, you're at higher risk for COVID-19. But then you're also at a higher risk for experiencing side effects from those vaccines because your autoimmune system is weakened. So it's a double-edged sword there that we need to be tracking. And I don't see any studies out there that are tracking these things. To be really honest, as someone who's been working with the autoimmune system as a trauma counselor over the last 15 years, I'm just confused about the way we're dealing with COVID-19. It's been so politicized that scientists are afraid to do the research that they are probably fantasizing about, like I am. And funders aren't funding the research either, apparently. It seems to be this chaos, emotion storms that we're playing with all around on both sides of the aisle, as they say. So let's just drop that and do this fantasy study, please. It's going to be amazing. We're going to find out facts about the disease, our autoimmune system, and it's going to give us a clear understanding of how we need to move forward in order to enhance our odds of surviving this disease and protecting people at risk from suffering from it. That's my belief. This is my fantasy. I just shared it with you. Take good care of it. And again, if you're a researcher, please research. And if you're a funder, I'm here.